You're listening to Nick DiPaolo on the Riotcast Network, riotcast.com.
Hey. Nick DiPaolo Podcast Monday, the free version on iTunes, riotcast.com, Stitcher, and all that stuff. And if you'd like 2 to 3 more shows a week, go to connectpal.com/Nick. Connectpal.com/Nick. Get 2 to 3 more shows a week for $3.99 a month. That's $1 a week. Well worth it. Believe me. How are you, folks? What else did I want to tell you? Come see me this Saturday night, Bobby V's in Windsor Lock, Connecticut. Bobby V's, as in Bobby Valentine's. I did the gig probably a year ago. Maybe not even. Good gig. Good gig. Good place to experiment, fuck around, and, easy money, and I'm home by 11:30. Yeah, that's the whole idea. Anyhow, since I last saw you, what has transpired in the world? That's right. Me and Robert Kelly this past weekend, in New Orleans. Oh, yeah. And let me tell you something, folks. I love this. And I've been saying for years, I really don't, because the only footage you see of New Orleans is usually during Mardi Gras. I go, that looks fucking horrible. Fat chicks blowing guys for beads? Come on. And I'm like, there's a few streets with good food, but every city has that. But it really is beautiful. The architecture, tree-lined streets, and the food was everything that I've heard. I mean, I was only there for, I don't know. Come on, folks, everybody sing. For, a day and a half, 2 days, but, and that's another story, Delta Airline. Let me get to that. Yeah, I was supposed to go down there on Friday in the afternoon, and I'm like, these are the gigs you love. It's like, I'll be there for, just fly in Friday afternoon, do the gig that night, fly out the next morning. Easy. Good money. Harrah's Hotel Casino. Great gig. It never works out that way. Anytime you have that type of, you end up earning every goddamn penny, and you're like, maybe I was even a little underpaid. No, I wasn't, but I'm just saying. I get, Wednesday I get a thing from Delta Airlines saying, hey, you might want to change your flight on Friday because of inclement weather. And I don't know if that's a good thing they do that or not. Now I'm like, now they're putting it on me. I'm like, if I change this goddamn thing and it doesn't even rain, you're fucking up my plans. And so sure enough, I changed my flight. Or I had my assistant to it. Some people call her my wife. But, and 19 phone calls, bing, bing, bang, then change your seats, this, that, bing, bing, bing. And so I go in there a day early. Get there in the middle of the afternoon on, Thursday. And again, I don't want to, again, folks, after 30 years, you don't want to have to spend more than a minute more in any of these cities. Although New Orleans I've never been to. But anyhow, Delta sends me that. I change it just in case because, let's say, the next day there is canceled flights and whatnot, I'm fucked, right? But naturally, I changed the flight and get there on Thursday. And naturally, Friday there was no inclement weather. Again, how do you not know that? They saw some rain coming. Again, I have mixed feelings about what they did. Because if it did get canceled, I'd been like, thank God for Delta letting me know. But now I'm like, you fucked up everything. And, of course, my original flight took off when it was supposed to, and I could have got there right before the gig, just the way I planned everything. Sister's tits. So I have mixed feelings about that. And Delta, okay, I paid an extra $25 on the way home for a comfort seat or whatever the fuck. And you know what? It's the same as the regular seats in coach. And it was one of those regional jets, so there was an aisle in the middle with 2 seats on either side. And me and the narrowest seat you have ever seen, man. I mean, just fucking freakishly small. Me and this guy, and he wasn't big, and I wasn't that big. I'm 6'3", 270. And we're rubbing fucking shoulder. And even the guy next to me goes, man, I'd I like to see what the uncomfortable seats, extra $25 for this. It was no different. I was looking at all the seats. Motherless tits on Delta. Anyhow. But anyways, great fucking place. Had a great time. They picked me up in a stretch limo because it's a casino game. That's embarrassing. Okay, stretch limos are for Tom Hanks, Sylvester Stallone, Larry Storch, B. Arthur. Big stars like that. Merv Griffin. Like an 85-foot stretch limo picks me. It's so embarrassing because I'm in the back of that thing, and I'm like, oh, God, you got to pull up in front of the hotel. And sure enough, there's people out in front of the hotel. And I get out, and you just see their faces filled with disappointment. I actually heard one of them say, I think that's Frank Stallone, ain't it? Is that Frank Stallone? Fucking embarrassing. And again, they're just trying to, that's how it's Harrah's. It's a big deal. I appreciate the gesture. I'm flattered. But next time, send me a Mini Cooper. That sort of suits my career better. And had a great time. Me and Bobby Kelly, who's a funny motherfucker, we go to the Chop House. He pulled out of the restaurants and shit and, go to the Chop House and had a Delmonico steak. And it was as good a steak as I've ever had. A Caesar salad. And it was as good as Caesar. And you're like, well, come on. Let me tell you, folks. The food was everything I heard it was. Caesar salad with real anchovies. And not overdressed. And chilled. The lettuce was actually ice cold. That's the way you serve a Caesar salad, Denny's. Anyway. And key lime pie. I had a slice of key lime pie. Most delicious dessert I've ever had. Unbelievable. Next day we go to Pesh for lunch. We go to some seafood platter. Comes out. There's oysters on the half shell. There's one of them was the size of a fucking elephant's ear. And giant shrimp. And what the fuck else was on that? Some smoked tuna. And then the gumbo, which was the best thing I had down there. I've been dying. I heard about shrimp gumbo, but it was better than I thought. It's been better than whatever. It was just tremendous. I made gumbo at home. I can cook my tits off. And, oh my God, was it delicious. It was just mind-blowingly good. You didn't know I was the foodie, did you? And then the gig. The gig was in a gorgeous theater, murals on the wall. We had a meet and greet before the show, and these people come in, these older people. When I say older, 10 years older than me. But they call them whales. In other words, they're filthy rich. So like a handful of them come into the green room to meet me and Bobby, and they told us after, those people have to lose a minimum of $250,000 like a year at the casino before they're considered whales. So that's the kind of dough they had. Come to me, watch me and Bobby with our filthy Yankee mouths. And and then after the gigs were great. The people were crowds were great. Me and Bobby both rocked the house. And then second show, more meet and greet. Younger people came in the second show, came into the green room, drinking champagne with us. I'm telling you, folks, what a way to make a living. I know I piss and moan, but me and Bobby we ate like kings and, made some nice fucking cabbage and met some nice people. And it was just fucking great. Great. New Orleans, I'll tell you, I'm coming back. Again, you got to stay within 5 blocks. You might get stabbed in the ass. So I was told. Contributions. Thank you, my buddy Dennis. And also Adam Toohey has contributed a nice fat one to the show. Thank you guys so much. Keep the contributions coming in. It's the lifeblood of the show. Hey, before I forget, a week from today, my Sirius XM radio show premieres from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Channel 103, the Faction Channel. So that's a week from today. And please check it out, will you? We'll have some fun. I don't know what it's going to be. We'll do a little, topical news, funny shit. I'll try to get some of my asshole buddies to stop in and bigger names. And we'll cover it all. And again, I lean right in my politics, so I'm sure that'll light up the phones here in fucking Blueville, the People's Republic of fucking New York City. And, yeah, it's going to be great. So, New Orleans was tremendous. Tremendous time. Speaking of New Orleans, big fight going on down there.
White people.
People are fighting over, they're taking down the Confederate statues in New Orleans, like 3 of them. And some people are for that, and some people are fucking pissed about it. I, for one, and again, if you're pissed about it, doesn't make you a racist or any of that shit. It just, it's just, it's what ISIS does, okay? They tear down statues and shit. The idea being, we'll pretend your culture never even existed. But I say to you liberals who are for tearing down these statues, and I've asked this question again, how are you going to teach your little liberal jerk-off kids how racist this country was and what people had to go through because of the bad white man, right? How are you going to teach them that if you destroy...
Wake up, white people.
All evidence of, white racism. We have fucking lost our shits in this country. But I love this article. It says, chance of CSA, that's Confederate States of America, drowned out attempted USA chance. Make America Great Again, hats were worn. So right in this article, they're saying people who are against tearing down these statues are, obviously Trump fans. They try to make that connection the first sentence in. Make America Great hats were worn. Coors Light cans were popped open, and demonstrators brought shields, armor, and helmets to protest Sunday afternoon at Lee Circle in New Orleans. I must have missed that. I would have stayed an extra day and put on my Trump hat and got right in the middle of it and had some fun. Lee Circle is it's a roundabout close to downtown, and it's the statue of General Robert E. Lee. And in this article, it says he never stepped foot in New Orleans. So I guess that makes it racist that you have a statue of a guy who, was for the Confederate, but he never even stepped in your city, yet you're still paying tribute to him. The city's planning to take down that statue and replace it with the Three Stooges and Shirley Temple. They're going to replace it along with 3 other Confederate statues that Mayor Mitch Landrieu. Is he related to that other broad Landrieu who was, she was like a senator? I think she's retired. But the Mitch Landrieu, he's the mayor. And he's condemned these statues as symbols of white supremacy and racism. Can you imagine you get elected officials that dumb? Yeah, they're also you don't whitewash history because you disagree with it. Bell bottoms are pretty fucking embarrassing. Let's go back to old reruns on TV and erase all that shit. Nick, are you comparing bell bottoms to slavery, really? Yeah, kinda. Sue me. I'm just so tired of it. The point being, you leave the shit up. As a reminder, we don't want to go back to that. Right? Right. And at the time, everybody thought they were doing what they thought was right. But now you go back in hindsight and go, oh, look at these fucking assholes. They shouldn't be torn down any more than Malcolm X statues shouldn't be torn down. Another guy who's anti-white and violent. But let's leave that shit up. I'm worn out, man. Worn out.
Wake up, white people.
Dozens of law enforcement officers stood ready at Lee Circle after the city received threats of violence against the contractors who had been hired to take down the statues. Again, can you see the article? Are you seeing the left-leaning perspective? So in other words, Trump hats and the contractors were being threatened by people who want to leave the statue up. Nothing, no threats of violence by the other side. Is that what you want me to fucking believe? Although a few fights broke out during the protest, I wonder who started those. See how they glaze over there. New Orleans police reported that it remained predominantly peaceful. Well, that sort of contradicts itself, doesn't it, that sentence? A few fights broke out, but predominantly peaceful. Duh. Nevertheless, 3 people had been arrested by the afternoon, possibly after a man in a suit of armor fought another man in a Joy Division shirt earlier in the day. I don't even know what Joy Division is. I should have Googled it, but fuck that. These statues are an aberration in terms of what New Orleans has been and what New Orleans wants to be, Landrieu told MSNBC last week. Of course he told MSNBC. And of course MSNBC interviewed him because he's on their side, ideology-wise. Fucking stupid. Nobody's going to look at that statue and think, Mr. Landrieu, oh, New Orleans is for this slavery. They still are, huh? Is that what you're worried about? What a dumb So anyways, there's a guy named Frank Stewart Jr. He's a white businessman. I love how they throw out the term white. They'll never mention a black. They won't say a black guy when there's a crime reported. But Frank Stewart Jr., a white businessman who has long fought on behalf of the monuments and a member of the privately funded Monument Task Committee, took out a 2-page ad in the Advocate newspaper to air his grievances. What did he say? He says, everyone involved needs to put down their personal prejudices and let the magnificent memorials, can you tell I've had 5 cups of coffee, of real history remain as a permanent reminder to all that the consequences of conflict and the results of positive evolution of life and mankind should not be forgotten. Yeah, you know, those statues, that's a good point. You know what they represent? It's like, oh, those are the bad old times. But it acknowledges progress racially in this country. But you can't do that because that's all the left has to hang their hat on with their identity politics. Those statues like, oh yeah, there was some bad shit back then, but look how far we've come. But we can't acknowledge that because that's their trump card. As soon as they acknowledge it, they have no excuses. Makes me sick. What else did Frank B. Stewart, a junior, here's a different article, still refers to a white New Orleans native, feels like, you know, an Orwellian attempt to erase history. I ask you, Mitch, he says to the mayor, should the pyramids in Egypt be destroyed since they were built entirely from slave labor? He also said, what about Roman Colosseum? It was built by slaves who lived horrible lives under Roman oppression. But it still stands today, and we learn so much from seeing it. Ich fucking exactly. Ich fucking exactly. Exactly. Like I said, who else tears down statues? ISIS. So you can align yourself with ISIS, far left fucking jerk-offs. Ah, what a disgusting time. Glad I'm my age, honest to God. I don't want to see. You should have heard the limo driver that picked me up. I don't know, these the Muslims here. I'm telling Nick, we won't be around to see it, but he was about my age, too. He goes, but they'll dominate the world. I mean, and I kind of agree. If you're watching the plan unfold, coming over here, they hate our guts, but they're moving in with open arms, thanks to Obama and other shitheads. And but what's it matter? What's the matter? I'll be gone. Maybe I won't. What if I live till 112? Huh? Cut to me doing the afternoon prayers. That's the other creepy thing. I flew out of LaGuardia. I park in Delta, and it's a little bit of a walk to the terminal. And I walk under this little bridge, and there's like 6, 7 guys on prayer rugs, Muslims, right in the middle of their afternoon prayers as I'm walking by. And it does unsettle me because when I see Muslims, airport, you know, I put shit together, and I come out with 9/11. And again, I'm just saying, it's cab drivers, they're hardworking fellas. I don't mean to, but give me a fucking break. Is that what you want to see? You know. How about if you were Jewish and every time into a bagel shop, there was a couple German fellas out front sharpening their bayonets? Would that fucking make you unsettled? Nick, that was kind of silly. Yeah, I know. Whatever. But it is unsettling. But, our Father who art in heaven. Yeah, New Orleans. Everything is... There was a Ruth Chris Steakhouse in the lobby of the Harrah's Hotel, which was beautiful, by the way. Absolutely, they're almost too friendly, almost too aggressive to help you. Every time you go in and out of the house, there's 5 doormen, you know, wanting to grab your bag and pick up a tip or whatever. But gorgeous hotel, and there's a Ruth Chris Steakhouse. I go down, and I guess that's where Ruth Chris started, the chain steakhouse. And I go into the bar area. I mean, the ceilings are like 30 feet high. These beautiful lamps. Just the ambiance was unbelievable. And they're so friendly down. You know what I like when I go down south, and I don't see this up here? You see black and white people like having lunch together, mingling. And I don't remember seeing much of that up here in the Northeast. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I don't know, it's because... They just, you see younger people, older, black and white, having drinks together, and I don't see that up here. Not sure why. I'll figure it out someday, but it makes me feel good. It's like, that's how it should be. Somebody's acknowledging that we can get along. Anyhow, don't get all mushy on us, Nick. I'm just saying, motherfuckers. I'm just saying. Let's get into some world politics. What do you mean by that? Well, Macron wins French presidency, the youngest French president in history. He smoked Marine Le Pen, the far-right nationalist, who I like. She's a female Donald Trump. And I'm sure they are going to rue the day. Is rue a French word, by the way? When they didn't elect her. She beat the hell out of her father's numbers, though, so they made some progress, but he crushed her. Emmanuel Macron was elected president on Sunday with a business-friendly vision of European integration. That's called Muslims moving in and defeating Marine Le Pen. And she was going to take them out of the European Union. You know, she's going to pull a Brexit. And, like I said, she's the female Trump over there. The centrist emphatic victory, which also smashed the dominance of France's mainstream parties. Well, I don't know. How do you be a centrist and not really mainstream? I'm missing that. Will bring huge relief to European allies who had feared another populist upheaval to follow Britain's vote to quit the EU and Trump's election as U.S. president. Yeah, those are bad things, I guess. What happens when you get hit again? I'm going to ask you that, France, which is going to be soon. You're listening to Ode to Joy by, you know who? Beethoven. This is France's, national... Or it's what they play when the president gets sworn in. Thank God it ended. Sound like a soundtrack to Schindler's List. Mink, yeah, what a depressing song. With virtually all the votes counted, Macron had topped 66% against just under 34% for Le Pen. A gap wider than Madonna's lap. What? A gap wider than 20 or so percentage points that pre-election surveys had suggested. So they thought, she would get smoked. Even so, it was a record performance for the Nationalist Front, a party whose anti-immigrant policies once made it a pariah and underlined the scale of the divisions that Macron must now try to heal. And he came out and he said, somebody. What's the translation? I know the anger, the anxiety, the doubts that very many of you have also expressed. It's my responsibility to hear them, he said. I will work to recreate the link between Europe and its peoples, between Europe and citizens. Good luck with that, motherfucker, because you got half of ISIS lining you up in their crosshairs. So that's how I look at this, and what's going to be the reaction after the next attack? And believe me, there will be more. His immediate challenge, they say, will be to secure a majority in next month's parliamentary election for a political movement that is barely a year old, rebranded as Les Républiques en Marche. That's Onward the Republic, in order to implement his program. Outgoing President François Hollande, who brought Macron into politics, said the result confirms that a very large majority of fellow citizens wanted to unite around the values of the Republic and show their attachment to the European Union. I think you're full of shit. All due respect, Mr. François Hollande. Trump also tweeted his congratulations on Macron's big win, saying he looked forward to working with him, and then he took a picture of his... He stuck his bare ass against the shower, the window in the shower, and he snapped it, and he tweeted that over there. If he had any balls, he would have done that and become a hero. Also, Le Pen said she offered her congratulations and took a picture of her flipping the bird. But she defiantly claimed the mantle of France's main opposition in calling on all patriots to join us in constituting a new political force. And here's the upside for Miss Marine Le Pen, even though she got schlonged, as Trump would say. Her tally was almost double the score that her father, Jean-Marie, the last far-right candidate to make the presidential runoff, achieved in 2002 when he was trounced by the conservative Jacques Chirac. Cocaine. Her high-spending, anti-globalization, France-first policies may have unnerved financial markets, but they appealed to many poorer members of society. Sound familiar? Against a background of high unemployment, social tensions, and security concerns. In other words, she's the female Trump. That was her message. Only it didn't fly in far left fucking France. Jesus Christ. All the shit, all the turmoil, all the terrorist attacks, all the tragedies you've gone through in the last year or so, And I don't know. She seemed like the woman for the job. How about this? I didn't know. This was pretty. Macron's team successfully skirted several attempts to derail his campaign by hacking its communications and distributing purportedly leaked documents that were reminiscent of the hacking of the DNC during Hillary, fat ankle, thick dog face, her election. So I'm guessing the fucking Russians are at it again. Who else would be hacking in? North Korea? They don't give a fuck about France. That dirty, dirty Putin. That's funny, huh? So that's the new world we live in, man. Christ's sake, I have a niece who ran for a class president. She's a senior in high school, and somebody hacked into her computer. I think it was WikiLeaks. Apparently they wanted the other kid. Black kid in a wheelchair. By any idea of a brave new political dawn will be tempered by abstention rate on Sunday of around 25%, the highest this century. Well, that's all about the money. Nobody gives a shit. No, you know what they're saying? Sorry. I'm all fucking caffeined up. By any idea of a brave new political dawn will be tempered by an abstention rate on Sunday of around 25%. In other words, that many people didn't vote. And by the blank or spoiled ballots submitted by 12% of those who did vote. So people showed up and handed in a blank ballot or fucking scribbled some shit on it. Of course, many of those have been supporters of the far-left maverick Jean-Luc Mélenchon, whose high-spending, anti-EU, anti-globalization platform had many similarities with Le Pen. How the fuck's he a far-left maverick if this guy had similarities with Le Pen? I don't understand that. Sorry, I even read that fucking thing. But in other words, 25% abstained from actually casting a vote. So that means there's a lot of unhappy people. That's what that means, folks. What can I tell you? But, yeah, you can replace Beethoven's Ode to Joy, that song, as your national song. Maybe this one, because I'm telling you. ISIS is probably what you're going to hear. Why does this song make the hair on my balls stand up? And nipples. Hello. Of course, that was from Cat Stevens' Greatest Hits. Anyhow, so Macron is the president of France. And, interesting. Very interesting. What else is going on in the news? Oh, here's a story for you kids. Fights over Trump drive couples, especially millennials, to split up, which is a bogus fucking headline. This is from NBC. This is such shit. I'm going to read the fucking article and tell you why. More fake news. I've never seen anything like it, what they're trying to do to this guy. It really is fucking sick. So married couples are getting divorced because of fucking Trump, supposedly. When me and my wife fight, it's never political. It usually sounds something like this.
About the 1,000 other fucking pigs you had your dick in over the years. The strippers, the cocktail waitresses. Were you best friends with all of them, too? You fucking hypocrite. Son of a whore!
Oh, for the love of Christ. New data from Wakefield Research found that, what is fucking Wakefield? Eat my ass. Found that 1 in 10 couples, married and not, have ended their relationships in a battle over Trump. For younger millennials, it's about 22%, which I kind of believe it because the people who hate Trump, whether they're married or not, you're the one, we've proved you're the fascist fox. I mean, you beat up people, you won't let conservatives speak on college campuses. So I'm sure you're the one that is saying to your spouse, fuck you, if you don't think like me, I'm out of here. That's what I get from this. But the fact that they're pinning all this on Trump, you don't think fucking Obama's election caused any anger in people who didn't like Obama? But see, those are people on the right, and we don't divorce our spouses over politics. You fucking whiny maggot, you. Nick, take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy. Nearly 1 in 3 Americans said that political clashes over Trump have had a negative impact on the relationship. Yeah. And again, did you take this poll? Did you ever even read a poll like this when Obama was in office? You wouldn't even dare take the temperature of couples. God, help me. It's so fucking... Yeah, it's Obama's fault. How about the fact his foreign policy is the reason why Trump's trying to build a wall and put up all this shit that's so unpopular with the left? So Obama's is to blame, too, for people getting split up. It's not just on Agent Orange. That's Trump's new name. In fact, 24% of Americans in a relationship or married and 42% of millennials told the survey that since President Trump was elected, they and their partner have disagreed or argued about politics more than ever. Yes, because the mainstream media has never been more biased. There's never been more of an effort to paint a president as a jerk and negative, and it's not an accident. And millennials, nobody's more media-driven and consumes more of this shit than millennials. So it makes sense, really. 2 unrelated online dating reports confirm the rise of political incompatibility. Let me tell you, first of all, if you're breaking up with your spouse over politics, it wasn't meant to be, you dummies. You're both stupid. Honey, will you fuck me tonight? No way. You voted for Trump. They show that Democrats especially, here you go, Democrats especially unlikely to date a Trump-supporting Republican. But Republicans are more inclined to give Clinton-supporting Democrats a try. And let me tell you why that's even more interesting. Because most of the hot pussy is on the right. All you have to do is put on Fox News and compare it to MSNBC or look at any feminist march. Really, the hot pussy is on the right. We all know that. Yet the Republicans are still more inclined to date somebody, you know, who has the opposite ideology as far as politics go. That shows a little bit more open-mindedness. As we all know, the adults are on the right. Adults like me. People laughing. I'm giving you time to snicker. Among Americans who did not vote for Trump and who are not in a relationship with a partner who voted for Trump, a third, 33%, would consider divorce if they had a spouse who voted for Trump. You close-minded, left-wing douchebags. That's all I'm saying.
Fucking bitch.
The number jumps to 43% among millennials who did not vote for Trump or have a partner who voted for him. What does that tell you? Millennials, just replace the term millennials with young people, okay? And they've been indoctrinated. Fresh off college campuses. Of course they're closed-minded when it comes to this shit. And then they cite a specific example and an anecdote, if you will. This guy, he's a lawyer. It doesn't matter who. Grant Moore from Virginia. He cited he's a divorce lawyer, I guess. He cited one potential client, a Muslim who immigrated to the United States as a child, who was married to a white American woman for 20 years. Neither was political until Trump hit the scene, which is bullshit, number one. And all of a sudden, she developed a real affinity for Trump. Parts of that was her questioning her husband's Muslim background. Fucking bullshit. She was questioning his patriotism. It was a huge rift in the marriage. Yeah. Really? We couldn't find 100 other cases the other way? What a crock of poop. That's the one anecdote they cite. This is called fake news, folks. I hate to fucking blame it. Even if that was true, that one example, you know, can we balance it out? Did you look anywhere else? I'm watching the news last week, and I see MSNBC or NBC, I forget. Just pick any. CNN it was, I think. And they were in Wisconsin, one of the states that Obama won a couple times and then flipped to Trump this year. And I'm like, why would they go back there? And I had the mute on, and I'm like, I'll guarantee. So I put it on. They're interviewing a guy like my age who voted for Trump, and of course now he's regretting it. And his daughter, who's like, 26, is going, I told even before I hit the mute button on, I knew. I'm like, why would they be in Wisconsin? Sure enough, it's unbelievable. It's a tsunami of anti-Trump fucking horse shit. It really is. Also, so that study just told you what? that the lefties are just, closed-minded. It's hilarious. It's come full circle. And again, the conservatives were the assholes back in the 40s and 50s, and they were on the wrong side of the race arguments and shit. But it's come full circle. I've yet to see any liberal speakers be attacked by conservatives on a college campus, and if there are any conservatives on a campus, and it's fucking hilarious. But let's switch up gears. Shall we? I guess GLAAD had their media awards. That's, the gay and lesbian. I used to know what it's gay, lesbian, AAD. They had their media awards. And Rosie O'Donnell, she jokingly texted, in quotes, President Donald Trump with a defiant, profane message on behalf of the LGBT community. Now, picture somebody doing that at like a Tea Party rally when Obama was in office. Mock texting, fuck you, Obama. Can you imagine? They'd shut it down. You'd be a fucking pariah. But this fat clam lapper, I wish she would go away. I want to like her. Why do I want to like her? I don't, because she's a Long Island girl. She came on Tough Crowd, and that's when I sort of started to dislike her because she acted like an asshole then. But she mock text Trump, fuck you, Donald, from the gays, and then hit send. It doesn't matter if it's mock or not. She knows it's going to get picked up in other forms of media, like the article I'm reading right now, and it was the 28th annual GLAAD Media Awards at the New York Hilton Midtown. My invitation must have got lost in the mail. Honoring individuals and media properties that best represented acceptance and inclusivity of the LGBT community over the past year. Do you ever give it a rest? Do you guys ever give it a rest? Do you have anything else in your lives other than your obsession with your fucking sexuality and your fucking backslapping, ass-slapping congratulations to each other? Give it a fucking rest. The night's big honorees included Porter, whoever that was, Daily Show host Trevor Noah. Oh, Porter's a fucking Tony Award-winning cum guzzler. He's a Tony Award-winning actor, Billy Porter. So he got an honorary award, and Daily Show host Trevor Noah, and Deborah Messing, who was honored with the organization's Excellence in Media Award. She is, I'll play a little bit of her speech. And Will and Grace, my wife turned me on to that show years ago. And the writing is really fucking funny. And Laura Keitlinger, comedian from Boston, who I really like, she wrote on that show. And it was a really fucking funny show. Very faggy, yet very funny. But Deborah Messing is as far she makes Obama look like Strom Thurmond. She's been in Hollywood, or I don't know how many years now. She's the typical example of somebody ensconced in this cocoon, this echo chamber. She's so far left, she's fucking nuts. Here's her at the GLAAD Awards speaking about Trump.
Our democracy and humanity have been under attack. But unless you are an unenlightened, straight, cisgender white male, you are a target.
Did you hear that? I don't even know what that means, cisgender. I am a straight white male. I guess anybody, again, fellas, we're unenlightened, we're dumb. And can you imagine her saying, an unenlightened black person who loved Obama, you filthy redheaded twat.
That means that makes us all a target.
Listen to her
right
paranoia.
Now, there is a very bad and very orange man in our White House.
You are a cunt. If that's stinking cunt. Say it ain't true, but me tell you, you motherfucking cunt. You are a cunt. Motherfucking cunt. Everybody knows from your head to toes, you're a big fat stinking cunt.
You stupid fucking blabbermouth cunt!
All right. Sorry, Deborah. Beautiful woman, terrific actress, mentally ill. As far as politics goes. Just fucking, we're a target. Target of what? What the fuck? Take a break. Get out of West Hollywood. Get away from your gay male friends for 3 fucking seconds. Put down your political ideology and fucking enjoy life for 4 minutes, you psycho. I guess they're bringing back Will and Grace, and I saw the headline in some paper, and she was going to explain why they're bringing it back, and I didn't even bother to read. We know why. Everything else you've tried since has failed miserably. But you're a fucking left-wing loon that makes you royalty in Hollywood. Shut your fucking gob, please. And that goes for Rosie fucking Donald. It was Rosie after she wolfed on a club sandwich. Anyhow, just go away. Go away, little girls. Jesus Christ. They have nothing else to do in their lives. Can you imagine? It's the GLAAD Media Awards. The GLAAD Media Awards. Like we need that. How is that different than any other awards? The Oscars, the Tonys. Honoring individuals and media properties that best represent acceptance and inclusivity in the LGBT community. What? Can I ask you a question? What part of the media doesn't do that? Can you name one? Because I'm not sure. Oh, by the way, Rosie O'Donnell pledged $100,000 to fight anti-LGBT legislation at the event, according to a GLAAD press release. That's how anti-LGBT this country is. She's a multimillionaire with zero fucking talent whatsoever, other than showering down on a big giant muff. And then Deborah Messing had to take a shot at Ivanka Trump. That's the other thing now that everybody's doing. It's not enough to simply say that women's issues are important to you. It's time to do something. You can change the lives of millions of women and children just by telling your dad stories about real people who are suffering. Messing addressed Trump's eldest daughter. Just never happy. Just never fucking happy. It's a wonder I got a rash the whole time I was living in Los Angeles. It was still fun, though. I'd go on, auditions, almost every audition, and the casting people that were doing the audition, that tell you to slate your name and get in front of the camera, and there was always like a blatantly, openly gay guy or woman, which is fucking fine. I have no problem with it. I'm just saying. It's just so funny to see it up close and going, oh, I see why I can't get arrested. Ah, boy, it really is a gay business, folks. It really is. Super gay. I didn't know. I always, looked up at Johnny Carson, a man's man. I wanted to be a comedian like him. Guy who carried a gun in his car, fucking drank scotch. Had a nasty streak. Even fucking Jay. Jay had a motorcycle. He used to drive around the whole country. He was the guy. He was like Elvis. Sam Kinison, And I figured that would lead to other stuff, but I didn't really understand that I'm an outcast in this business. Colin Quinn is my closest friend in the business. I don't know if he would agree with that. But we talk almost every night on the phone, and I fucking love him. Love him to death. And, but even, he's the only one. I don't, he still likes sports and shit, but these artsy, I just, Louis is my old roommate, but, other than that, in comedy, we don't really have much in common. But I like Louis because I said, he's from, he's from the shitty part of Newton, and he's like a rough around the edges guy, and funny as all fucking Christ. But I have nothing in common with even the comics who I love and respect, the Dave Attell's and shit. We have nothing in common, me and Attell, and it's very, it's a business, I guess, made up of people who got bullied. Maybe some of that is true. But anyways, so yeah. Messing took a shot at Ivanka Trump. And you know who else did also? Fucking Bill Maher, real-time host, is accused of crossing the line with tasteless incest jokes about Ivanka Trump. I don't know about...
Son of a whore!
I don't know. Look, yeah, Bill Maher angers me on 19 different levels. Like, he gives a fuck. I mean, he's hugely successful and with his HBO program. And but he was interviewing. I like how he just pushes the buttons. And I just, I want to do the same from the right. I want to fucking say that. Let's say I was as famous as him and I had a show on HBO. And I can imagine, not even on HBO, pick some other channel. And I said that I think President Obama was a big fag and she's gay. And do you understand? You'd be kicked out of show business forever. And I'm not exaggerating. Anyways, he was interviewing, Bill Maher was Gabriel Sherman, who writes for the New York Magazine. Ooh, another far righty, I say sarcastically. When he made an incest joke about first daughter Ivanka Trump's relationship with her dad. What did he say? I thought I had the clip, but I guess I don't. He said, what do you make of Ivanka and her efforts to sort of humanize her father? We see all this misogyny at Fox News. We see it in Donald Trump himself. A lot of us thought Ivanka is going to be our saving grace. The political commentator then took a step further and mimicked Ivanka performing a sex act on her dad, which was a hand job, like giving him a hand job. When he's about to nuke Finland or fucking something, she'll walk into the bedroom and, Daddy, don't do it, Daddy. And that's, and then he does the, Daddy, don't do it, like she's giving him a hand job. And then Bill Maher asks Mr. Sherman, is that how you see Ivanka? And the guy was like red-faced, If he writes for the fucking New York Magazine, he probably knows the Trumps, he was, he got embarrassed and said, no, that's not how I see her. He's, but here's, let me give you his little resume, Mr. Sherman. He's one of the leading media voices to have contributed to the outing of Roger Ailes at Fox News. So he's a big girl, too, this guy. No doubt about it. He said, I think, again, she's on the margins trying to save us to the degree that she can. But Donald Trump doesn't listen to anybody, including his own family. This guy got Roger Ailes booted and started all the shit. So somebody should take him out. Not physically. Take him out to dinner. And then, choke him out in an alley somewhere. I say that in jest, everybody. I'm not for violence. But that's the scalp on his, that's a notch on his belt. He took down Roger Ailes and turned Fox News upside down. So I'm sure I don't even know. I'll bet 99% he's gay. I'm just going out on a limb there that I'd like to beat him with. What? This isn't the first time Bill Maher has told an incest joke about Ivanka Trump, but some people got on social media were quick to respond to the crude joke. One of them wrote, "I can't believe Bill Maher just did that." Ivanka Trump at real time is, I guess, on November 2nd, Bill Maher during a stand-up set at Largo in Los Angeles, a comedy club, on Facebook Live where he cracked a joke many found as inappropriate. On November 2nd, the comedian performed a stand-up set at L.A. Largo, but where he cracked a joke many found inappropriate. He said, again, mimicking a sex act, "Be nice to Ivanka. She's our only hope because she seems like she actually knows rationality. But she's Trump's kid, and she's the only one who can get to him, and he loves her." Because remember, President Trump said, well, if we weren't related, I'd probably be dating her. It was kind of creepy, even I admit. If he's going to do something nutty, we're going to depend on Ivanka going into that bedroom. Daddy, you have to apologize for that tweet where you called Angela Merkel a cunt. You have to apologize, Daddy. That was on November 2nd. And again, big to do about nothing, but I'm just saying, it's the double standard. That's all. It's the double fucking standard. The guilt about race, because I'm bringing the Obamas into it, and how nobody said anything even close to that, But I'd be glad to be that guy from the right. It can't get any worse for me. Anyways, so yeah, big fucking deal, I say. you know? Big deal. Just point out...
Grow up. You're not a kid anymore. You hear me? You gotta grow up.
I'm just saying that people are upset. You got to grow. That's what comedians are supposed to do. Again, I point out the double standard, but other than same with Stephen Colbert. I don't understand why that was considered homophobic. Yes, it was. Obviously, it was something really crude to say about the president of the United States, and obviously he doesn't respect the fucking office unless there's a Democrat in it. But I don't understand how him saying cock holster, how that turned into homophobic. He wasn't attacking gays with that fucking line. We're so PC that all logic goes out the fucking window. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say a lot worse shit, hopefully, and then probably be called in on the rug, and I'll be back to Yuck Yucks in Toronto in a month. But big job. I mean, big deal. I said big job because I was looking at the word hand job that I had written over Bill Maher's face. That's what he does. We're supposed to be shocked at that? He already did it before. But just again, let us have the right to call Michelle Obama a outside linebacker who's good and can cover running backs out of the backfield because she's 6'4", 240 and has a cock. You know what I'm saying? Some news. What else do I got here? Here's some more. A columnist was fired who defended the NRA. Well, actually, she quit some paper in St. Louis. Yeah. A conservative columnist who was suspended by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch after she defended the NRA from comparisons to ISIS, fired back with her resignation and a series of targeted tweets. It's funny, huh? So somebody on the left was comparing the NRA to ISIS, and I just did a story a few minutes ago about people on the left wanting to tear down fucking statues. So I'd say you're more ISIS than people on the right. That's how I see it. The newspaper on Friday suspended Stacey Washington. She's a black woman, by the way, after a column entitled, at least she looks like that in a picture, unless I'm using the wrong filter on my Instagram, Guns and the Media. That was the name of her article. She disputed an anti-NRA article that argued since more Americans die from guns than from ISIS, the Second Amendment advocacy group is the greater danger. Did you hear that logic from the left fucking wing nuts? Because more people die from guns than from ISIS. That makes the NRA the greater danger. I can't even unpack that fucking psychotic fucking logic. The newspaper on Friday suspended Stacey Washington. Yeah. When as a member of the this is her. I guess she tweeted this out or wrote it. When has a member of the NRA ever decapitated, set on fire, tossed from a rooftop, or otherwise terrorized another American? Which is the key. The linkage is not only rife with improper context, it is false on its face. Miss Washington wrote in her column, which also decried the lack of conservatives in U.S. newsrooms, and I think that's what got her booted, and she does too. This failure to represent the opposing, especially conservative view, is an increasingly apparent deficit in the news reporting apparatus in our country. In other words, there's no conservative voices in newsrooms anywhere. But of course, the people at the newspaper assert that Washington was not suspended for the views expressed in her column, but for failing to disclose her promotional work and professional affiliation with the NRA. Washington has appeared several times as a co-host and commentator on Cam & Company on an NRA TV and contributed to an NRA documentary in August in 2016. However, she has never been paid by the NRA. That means she doesn't work for them. Okay? Okay. So you're full of shit. Anyhow. Dispatch editors insisting she is not a paid show for the NRA and noting the irony of a column calling out the lack of conservatives in the mainstream media getting a conservative suspended from mainstream media. That's what she wrote. She said, I'm not ashamed that I'm an NRA supporter, a Bible thumper, that I love Jesus Christ. I'm all the way out there. There's nothing else that I can do to articulate my perspective any more clearly on where I stand. But that's what she said. After her suspension, Washington mounted a Twitter broadside at the newspaper. editors insisting she's not a paid shill for the NRA. And then she noted the irony of a column pointing out that there's no conservatives in newsrooms and gets her fired as a conservative. Exactly. Once again, more fascism from the left. Unfucking believable. That is it, folks. That is it. Go to connectpal.com/Nick. Connectpal.com/Nick. Get 2 to 3 more shows a week for $3.99 a month. It's $1 a week. That's if you don't have Sirius Radio. Even if you do. But I told you how it's going to work. We're going to take an hour of my Sirius Radio show, which premieres a week from today, 6 p.m. Eastern Time to 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Channel 103, the Faction Channel. And we'll boil down an hour of that and release it 48 hours later as a podcast at connectpal.com and on iTunes for free, like we do on Mondays here. So that's how that's going to work. But I told you that, right? I sure did. I think that's it. That is it. President Trump, anything to add?
Handle things, I'm smart. Not like everybody says. Like dumb, I'm smart, and I want respect.
Yeah, Bill Maher and Deborah Messing. He wants respect. Fucking, there's something wrong with my mouse. I'm trying to move. It's frozen. What the God? I'm trying to shut off the show, folks. I'm trying to get out of here. That is... Anyhow... come see me again, Bobby V's in Windsor, Connecticut this Saturday night with Lori Palmentary, actually. Very funny lady. That is it. I will talk to you guys real soon. Take care of yourselves. I feel like I'm forgetting something as always. I love you anyways. If you don't believe me, my buddy Liberace will tell you.
I love you for helping me to construct of my life, not a tavern, but a temple. I love you because you have done so much to make me happy. You have done it without a word, without a touch. You have done it by just being yourself.
Son of a whore!
Perhaps after all, that is what love means. And that is why I love you.
Fucking bitch.
Good day, everybody.